Marc Rossi. Marc, please. And Marc will present a presentation titled The Public Register of European Parliament Documents. Please, Marc, the floor is yours.
So in the context of transparency, we propose with my colleague from DG Presidency and especially the Library Directorate to introduce you the public register of the European Parliament. So the public access to European Parliament documents for citizens is a right, and it's an obligation for the European institution to publish them and to give them access. The most important articles which define the way you can access to those documents is Regulation, in English, 1049, Regulation 1049, which is the most important one, which defines the whole process for having access to the documents. This regulation defines, among others, who are the beneficiaries of and the scope of the project, the exception, the application for access to documents, the processing of the application, the treatment of sensitive documents, and basic information contents in the register. It defines the register itself, and it allows each institution to define itself and to put the infrastructure which is necessary to access to those documents in the proper way. The direct access to the documents. All the documents which are received by the European Parliament under the legislative procedure must be accessible to citizens in electronic form. The categories of documents that are accessible are published on the website, but if a document is not part of this list, this doesn't mean that you can't ask to have access to this information, to any document which is not part of the list. So, the regulation states that a register shall contain for each document several references, the subject matter, and the date on which it has been received by the European Parliament. And what is important is that references shall be made in a manner which doesn't undermine protection of the interest in Article 4 of the regulation. So you have here an example, well, maybe an example of typical document description. You have its reference, the year, parliamentary terms, date, and some comments. This is typically what describes today a document in our database, in this specific database, sorry. So the documents that are directly accessible are most of the list has been adopted recently. In 2010, a new list, sorry. The documents relating to the parliamentary legislative activities, documents relating to other activities of the Parliament, Parliament general documents relating to the functioning of the institution, the official documents forwarded by other EU institutions, official correspondence, certain categories of administrative documents, and documents as enclosed following a prior request under regulation. So, in practice, citizens find most of the documents by surfing on internet on the specific website, the register that I will present you later. They find their documents using that way. But if it doesn't find a document, or if as I said before, this document is not available in the list of documents you would like to access, it can use a specific form which is available on the website to have access to that document. And an acknowledgement of receipt will be sent to the citizen, and a reply, we are obliged to reply to this application, will be sent within 15 working days. So you have a typical, well, you get copies of the screen of the forms, these 2 pages that you have to fill in, and then you specify your comment, which document, which information you want to access, and so this is typically what we receive. You have an example here. What the service in charge is receiving. And you will receive, we are obliged to answer you in within 15 days. So to manage this relation between the European Parliament and the citizen in this specific context, we have a specialized unit which is called the Transparency and Access to Document Unit, which helped me to prepare this presentation as well. And the role of this unit is, of course, to monitor the recording of the documents, to receive and process application for access, to send out acknowledgement, to assist applicants with clarifying with the substance of their application, to assist applicants with access to documents already published, and to coordinate the reply with the relevant service or person when a document is not recorded in the register. So more or less, following the latest statistic I received, the total number of documents requested was 1,161. 209, concern non-public documents resulting in 33 refusals, amongst them 19 partial access. This means that even we have the obligation to say that a document exists, but we don't have necessarily the obligation to give you access to that document if there is a reason that justifies that you don't have access to that document. But we have, the European Parliament have to explain and to justify clearly why you can't have access to that document. This is what we said here. In the event of a total or partial refusal, the reply shall state that the reason for the refusal and inform the applicant of his right to appeal. Because he can appeal to the Court of Justice of the European institution as well to the Ombudsman of the European institution. So today, our register contains more or less 433,742 references, which is translated in numbers of documents, is representing more or less 3 million of documents, but including the translation. As I already mentioned, translation are very important for us. So the documents on the website are presented under 6 headings that I will present you very quickly afterwards. The most consulted documents are parliamentary questions, adopted text, reports, amendments on draft reports, and amendments to reports. More or less everything that concerns the bills, in fact, the activity of the committees and the activities in plenary. So in January 2011, we launched this new website with a new architecture. To talk a little bit about technique, using Solar and Lucene, the couple of Solar Lucene. So with indexing of, we use intensively faceting, highlighting, auto-completion, caching, and combined search. So we offer as well, in the future, we will offer on this specific website spelling, RSS, and Eurovoc descriptors. I got a message this morning from my colleague that the Eurovoc descriptors are now available on the website as well. For example, so in 2011, so we launched a project to index using the Eurovoc thesaurus the following document families. And those documents has been indexed in the context of the knowledge management project and in the context of the contextualization that we want to put in place in the future. So it's a way to try to offer a better access to the information by using thematic words. It concerns the essential of opinions, written declaration, report, resolution, written question reports, and adopted text and consolidated text, which are the final text of the legislation. So in the future, now it will be proposed, Eurovoc will be proposed into a 3-level. It's very complex. We have an ergonomic challenge because we don't have the Eurovoc descriptors on all the documents. So that means that we have an ergonomic challenge to try to publish them in a good way that people understand that if you look for a document, you will not have Eurovoc facet or Eurovoc descriptor for this kind of document. So if we can work very quickly on the website, you will see by tomorrow that the website is not yet redesigned because it should be, oh, do I have a keyboard? Oh, so I can't.
You have to ask them.
Ah, No, there is no keyboard. So let's try. We could try by maybe. It will be difficult without keyboards. No, I don't see. So just to pass in review, what we propose is a single search. So you have the spelling, and then we propose you available words. We have an advanced search, very classical, using references. And we have a search by documents type, which are the 6 topics I was talking about before. We've been surprised. Initially, when we launched, we revamped this website. We thought that we would eliminate this, this kind of possibility because considering that it was quite out of fashion and people now use Google style. And we've been surprised that more or less, if I remember, 50% of people who are specialized are using this way for finding the documents they are looking for. So I don't know if maybe, well, so you can navigate and then finally you can define using your, you will define by default a criteria and then you will receive all the, we have here all the agenda of the plenary on committees and things like that. I just regret that we can't type any words because we have all the facet process. I'm not sure if I'm going draft. You've got here example. Now you've got the facet that appears here. So you are able using the facet. So you've got all the draft agenda that are available in the database, and then you can select the facet you want. Here is the 7th term for us, and then you've got all the languages available. Spanish, for example. You have, so you know that you have more or less 45 agenda available in that language, and so on. Unfortunately, this is not a good example because I can't show you the Eurovoc facet that we have implemented, but it's just the beginning for us, as I explained earlier this morning. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marc. Are there any? Yes, please.
I close it. Sorry, it's fine. No problem. In 2011 as well, we have launched 2 new projects. Maybe those who are involved in the European affair knows them. Is the new observatory of the European Parliament, which is an application that gives you information about the procedure of the European institution and all the related activities around them. We have a new one for which we have implemented as well facettings and new search facilities. This is a kind of example where we suppress 25 search possibilities to reduce them to 2. Because statistically, we can argue that it was useless to have 25 different search facilities. And we have also launched the new IPEC website, which is the interparliamentary website, which allows parliaments to exchange information about the scrutiny, and so we launched it last year as well, more or less in June, and the observatory in November. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Marc, there is a question. Yes, Bruno.
Yes, I'm Bruno Denis from the Belgian House of Representatives. I'd like to know who initially asked for this register of all documents. It was voted. It was voted at the bureau, but was it the administration?
It's a regulation. It's an obligation of the European institution. It's part of the Treaty of Functioning of Institution. It's Article 15, if I remember. I don't have the presentation anymore. And it's an obligation. So if you go on the website of all the European institutions, there is a register. But the way this register is implemented depends on each institution. So we have tried to go quite far. And this implies, of course, a specific organization. So that's why we have a specific unit for that. And all the documents that are official documents that are part of the list of documents are, you are obliged to register them using different means. Sometimes it's automatic. Sometimes you have to use a specific interface. So you have to register all the official documents that are part of that list. But it's the responsibility of each institution to define which documents are in the list, to publish the list, and this list can evolve because the register start, I don't remember in which year, it was 2001, if I remember. Bernard, you remember? 2001, yes. And we have updated internal rules in 2010 and even recently in 2011. And there is a big work that has been initiated in the library now to review the whole process of document management and things like that. So there are things that are evolving permanently. But it's left to the discretion, this is English, discretion to each institution to organize the work, the register, their own register. Okay.
Thank you, Marc. There are other questions? Are there any other questions? No other questions. Thank you again, Marc. And a very powerful system, impressive.